Hi, my name's Jane Peyton. I'm a beer sommelier, drinks educator, writer, and I'm also the founder of the School of Booze. And today we're going to do a beer tasting tutorial. Let's start with the ingredients of beer. There are 4 basic ingredients: water, malted barley, hops, and yeast. Let's talk about the malt, malted barley. What we get from that is colour, flavour, some aroma. We also get the body of the beer, and it's the source of sugar that yeast will ferment and convert to alcohol. Hops, they give us flavour, aroma, bitterness. They're also a natural preservative. Then we have yeast. Depending on the beer that we're brewing, whether it's an ale, a lager, or a mixed fermentation beer, we might get some characteristics like dried fruit, banana, cloves, medicinal sort of characteristics. Now, there are some tips when we do beer tasting. One of them is not to chill the beer too much. Chilling beer will reduce the aromas and flavours, and they're really important when it comes to tasting our beer properly. We need to smell it as well as taste it. In terms of glassware, I would recommend using a stemmed glass like a wine glass or a brandy balloon or a snifter glass. Don't fill the glass too full. The beer needs to breathe in the glass. It needs the aromas, the flavours to congregate. We're going to taste 3 different beers today. Each of them is distinctly different to the other. We have a sour beer, we have a very malty beer, and we have a beer that you would describe as hoppy. So let's try our beers and let's start the tasting. Our first beer is the Duchesse de Bourgogne. This beer is made in Belgium. It's a red Flanders ale and it's sour. The reason it's sour is because the yeast gives a very vinegary, sour, fruity character to the beer. Now normally you wouldn't want sour beer, but this is meant to be sour. So what we're doing, we're swirling it round in the glass, sticking our nose in, and we're going to think about what we're smelling. I can smell dried fruit, plums. I can get a sherry, winey sort of characteristic. And vinegar, balsamic vinegar. Don't be scared. Your brain will thank you after about 3 mouthfuls with this beer. You may be reluctant at first, but take a sip, then take another and another. It comes in 3s. 3rd mouthful, you'll love it. So I'm going to sip it now. It's got a very distinctly vinegary taste to it. And also some fruit, lots of dried fruit there. Very acidic sort of beer, very refreshing. Perfect on a hot day. The sort of beer that people who think all beer is bitter would be really surprised to know actually is beer. So that would be a good beer if you're a cider drinker or a wine drinker. Now our next beer, this one is dominated by malt, the malted barley. It's called Vienna Keller beer and it's by an English brewery called Utopian. So I'm pouring it into the glass there. There are lots of different lagers, by the way, and this one is a Vienna style. So it's got a copper colour to it, and when I stick my nose in it, I get a lot of honey, lots of nuts in there, some caramel as well, and then I taste it. I get all those malt flavours coming through, but I also get some hop bitterness as well. Very moreish, very refreshing too. A really good showcase for what the malt does to beer. And our 3rd beer of our session today is an India Pale Ale by Brewster's in Grantham. It's called Virago. And this beer is dominated by hops. So I swirl it round in the glass, stick my nose in it, and I can smell the hop character coming through. Pineapple, passion fruit, some pine as well, a little bit of citrus, And when I taste it, I'm expecting this to be bitter because I know that if it's led by hops, it's going to be bitter. And it is. It's got a very distinct, firm, piney character. Some woodiness there as well, very bitter, also very refreshing. Stays around on the tongue quite a long time. That's called the finish. Now, I don't want that beer to finish. I'm going to take another mouthful just to remind me. Excellent, wonderful beer. Great typical example of an IPA. My biggest tip with beer tasting, never do it in one mouthful. Do the analysis in a few mouthfuls, which means that you do have to swallow the beer, and enjoy your beer tasting. Cheers.